Good morning, friends. Hello. Hello this morning. How are you? You're doing grand today. It is an amazingly beautiful day. It's going to get chillier, I guess, in the days ahead, but for today, I hope you can get out and enjoy some of the beauty of it. It is sunny and lovely and warm. Hey, Jamie, good morning to you. Things are going grand. Hey, Deb, good morning. Hope all things are lining up and you're in good shape. Good morning, John. The first event of the year happens tomorrow. Hey, Yvette, good morning to you. Ah, the fire hose starts cranking up. You guys end up doing your thing. Hope you have some. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, friends. Hello. All right, everybody. Ready to go. That's great to hear. If everybody doesn't know, Deb is heading out to on a pilgrimage. She is headed to Barcelona and to Lourdes. So I am excited to hear what the Lord has in store for you and as well that you are on my heart and in my prayers, and may traveling mercies go with you. I am excited for you. It's going to be a great trip. So keep them in your prayers as if you would, as they travel. And as all pilgrimage, it is going out to come back in a way, so that we might go out to rediscover our life that we have, and the life that we live in a new and more powerful way. And that is my hope and my prayer for you. Mary Ann, good morning to you. Hope you're doing grand. All right, friends, let's get going this morning. It is the 16th day of April. 16th day of April. On this Thursday at 11:11, and I'm glad you're a part of the journey. Good morning, Donna. Glad you're here. That there's I was reminded. I attended a funeral for a dear friend this weekend. The Reverend Dr. Dave Bueller, who was kind of a fixture here in the city. He was the chaplain at Charlton Memorial Hospital for a number of years. He was an instructor at Providence College for a number of years in theology, and just a lovely man. He had a horrible punning sense of humor, and he was always good for a book, meaning that if you had a meal with Dave, or you had a moment with Dave, or you found yourself talking about some subject, it wouldn't be long before Amazon would drive up your driveway and deliver a book to you on that subject. That he believed in kind of salvation through book, or through biblio salvation. He was, but just a great guy, and passed some time ago, and it was really an honor to be able to raise him up and to spend some time. And but one of the things they did at his memorial, at his request, is that the kind of the closing anthem of the service was a song that you don't hear at funerals all that often, and it was Bob Dylan's "Gotta Serve Somebody," which I just always, which is a deep and beautiful song, but they had actually rewritten a couple of lines, particularly for Dave, which was a touching tribute. But even beyond that, it was, he was a preacher. He was a Lutheran minister, and it was in some ways, I think, his last little invitation to us all, as a testament of the life that he had lived, in terms of his ministry and his care for his community and the way he walked that out, but also this way and a passing of the baton, if you will, or an invitation that we too might look at and remember this basic injunction that it comes right out of the scripture. I mean, this isn't original to Dylan. This is, I mean, the New Testament in particular is littered with this invitation of, who are you going to serve? And as is the Old Testament in terms of whether it's the book of Daniel and Nebuchadnezzar and the invitation for the men of Israel to bend their knee or to be thrown into the furnace. Oh, there's so many different places, but I think in Jesus we find it in this from the 6th chapter of Matthew. No one can serve two masters, for either you will hate the one and love the other, or else you will hold to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. Now, this is always fun because you got to unpack this word mammon, but these are invitations to ways of being. They are invitations to spiritual states, and spiritual states give ways to behavior, right? If you are in an inflamed, angry state, and that's not just an angry, just an emotion, like or a hateful state, and that again, these aren't just feeling states, but they truly are ways that we can be, or we could be in a loving state, or we could be in a patient state, or that we think of these things as kind of feeling states, like, oh, I'm warm and fuzzy, or I'm cold and distant, or somewhere in between, or whatever. But that from these places we can actually have opposite feelings and yet still be in different states, right? If we're upset with our partner, we're upset, and we're trying to work through something, we can demonstrate patience while still being frustrated, and we can be in a state where we still are trying to serve the good and the true and the beautiful. We're trying to maintain relationship. We're trying to hold together, work through a thing that is difficult, and yet we can still be frustrated, maybe be angry, maybe be sad. We can still have feelings, even though the state that we're trying to cling to, the state that we're trying to operate out of. So I'm not just saying, sorry, I know we got to unpack this thing. It's kind of gorky, but trust me, it'll get us somewhere. I hope. This is why Jesus uses these words, serving. Because it's not just about, like, do I have a warm chocolatey feeling inside? Because I don't know about you, but I don't often have a warm chocolatey. I mean, sometimes I do, but our hearts are rebellious as anything. Like, they'll take us down all manner of different ways we can feel at any different moment. But this invitation to serve, what are we going to serve, is about our invitation to the spiritual state we want to inhabit, which can have all kinds of feelings attached to it. Because our service is about how we are going to take what we believe, what we hold on to, what we are going to call important, and how we're going to live that out in our life, how we are going to behave, the things that we are going to do. And that the serving God is, as Jesus basically laid it out, is this invitation, at its most basic, is to hold on to the commandments, right? To don't steal, don't whack people over the head with a hatchet, don't cheat on the people that you love, don't steal, don't rob people, don't covet all the stuff that other people have, like those basic kind of behaviors that are laid out. But the serving of mammon is this other thing of the reality of it often gets translated money, and that's a bad translation, because mammon isn't a thing. Mammon, again, is a spiritual state, just like serving God is a spiritual state. We can wake up in the morning and we can try to get ours and say, oh, I'm going to just, I don't care what it takes, I'm just going to get it today. Or we can try to serve, and that's us kind of serving ourselves. Or we can step into this idea that we might, I'm going to show up today. I'm going to try and be as helpful as I can, try and bring the goodness that God's placed in me into the world as best I can. Then and again, none of those things mean we have to, sell all we own and wear sackcloth. That's not what this is saying, and it's often been translated as it. And I wanted to unpack it today. One, because I was thinking of Dave and his song, and that song, that what an interesting thing that he should leave us with is this reminder that you have to serve somebody, and that this service of mammon is really about the service of the material world. Are we going to make sure it's not just money, but it's about, are we going to make sure that the material world, we are masters of the material world, and are we going to operate in such a way that we collect all the gold, that we have, we take all the milk out of the milk machine, that we acquire all the things. It is this, which again, that's a behavior that comes from, well, a spiritual state, right? That we make sure we get all our needs met in relationships or in friendships, and we don't really care about anybody else's. Like all that. Are you seeing the difference? And so that how bad that translation of money is. Anyway, I digress on this one. But all of this is to bring us back to this basic notion of what the point of Dylan's song is, and what Jesus's point is in pointing this out. Jesus isn't saying that that you can't serve, that you have to be perfect in thought, word, and deed. He's not saying that you have to give up everything in this world and have not have anything materially, and it's all of these things that we often get kind of think as second and third order effects. He's talking about who are we going to serve, and what are we going to call master in our life, which really means what are we going to trust. Because when we talk about Dylan's song, you gotta serve somebody, this is the thing. You have to trust something. And essentially, and because we are human beings and we personify everything, like, I don't know, how many people name their cars? A bunch of people name their cars. How many people name, that everything in our life we end up personifying because we have to. We're actually incapable of having another kind of relationship other than a personal relationship. It's not possible for us. We'd like to think we can, but we can't, which is, again, why God comes to us in person, so they can have an authentic face-to-face relationship with us. And so this invitation is to remind us that we have to trust something. And I want to invite you today to think about, to spend a little moment, maybe go listen to Dylan's song, You Gotta Serve Somebody, and hear some of those lyrics, but to remind yourself and to ask that question, what are you trusting? What are you trusting? If you're going on a trip, we have to have some capability in ourselves, right? If we don't have some trust in ourselves, we're lost. But if that's the only thing we trust, if we only trust in our own abilities and our own things, if we can't trust the people our fellow pilgrims on the path, if we fail to trust the world around us, if we fail to trust the very goodness of God, that we end up, and this doesn't mean that they're always going to prove out to be trustworthy, but that they become our points of service. That it becomes the point of are we going to serve God? Are we going to serve the truth, the good, and the beautiful in our life wherever we find it? Are we going to kind of live out of those commandments? Are we going to live in such a way that that we pursue the virtues rather than the vices? This is the thing about the virtues and the vices, that the vices are actually, all of the vices are really the pursuit of mammon, that they're the pursuit of the material things. If I pursue gluttony, like I'm a big fan of gluttony, like if I eat all the things, like I'm looking for a material solution to a spiritual problem. All of the vices, if you play them out, they all are serving mammon. That's really what they end up doing. I know we're all over the place today, but I really I'm really inviting you over this weekend and over this time and over this thing to enter into that spiritual journey of really letting God speak to you about who and what you're trusting, and what you will put trust in, and where you will lay the efforts of your days. Because the beauty of them is that they can unfold, and they can blossom like the tulips and the blossoms that down on South Main Street that are now coming alive. All the trees that are beginning to blossom. Like the world is about to come alive, and we can live a life that looks just like this springtime. That is constantly in blossom, that is constantly in bloom, that is constantly getting ready to bear more beauty and more fruit into it. And that's that, and it is all, and this is the way the trees and the flowers show us this in their way of their service to God, of being who and what they actually are, and moving and turning themselves in that heliotropic way towards the sun. Well, we too can turn ourselves in that beautiful spiritually heliotropic way and turn ourselves towards the sun. The one who came into this world to be as we are, the one who came into this world to show us how we might be, and the one who came into this world to give us and grant us all good gifts. And so I've been thinking about that little injunction from my friend Dave that he left us at his memorial, his last little sermon, I think, that he preached to us all, with a wink and a nod and some silly lyrics along the way, which was kind of just perfect for him. But it's also an invitation to me and to all of us. You got to serve somebody. You have to trust something. We like to think we're not people of service. We like to think we're not people of worship. We like to think we're a little above that. We're a little more than that. I'm my own person after all. But at the end of the day, every knee will bow to something. And so let it be the true, the good, and the beautiful. Turn yourself towards the Son, the one who came into the world to be as you were, to make all things right, to heal all wounds, to dry all tears, and to offer all good gifts to each one of us. And that's my hope, that you will trust in him in these days ahead. Peace and grace to you all, my friends. As we take up this weekend, we are on the Emmaus Road on this Sunday. So come and worship with us at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning. It's going to be a great Sunday. We've got some good music laid on, and we have some, and we're going to be exploring that journey of the disciples escaping Jerusalem with Jesus on the Emmaus Road, and who would come to see him face to face. And I hope you do this weekend too. Peace and grace to you all, my friends, and we'll pick it up next week with another 11:11.